knocking out power, destroying entire neighborhoods, leaving many with nothing. Hurricane Michael making its mark in the Panhandle. The first Category 5 hurricane to hit the United States since 1992. Many people still struggling to get their lives back to normal. Our team of meteorologists is taking action for you, making sure you're better prepared and more informed this hurricane season. This is Stormwatch 2019.
Thanks for joining us. I'm ABC Action News Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips, and for the next 30 minutes, we're taking action for you to show how to keep your family safe this hurricane season. Last hurricane season was record-breaking. Hurricane Michael pounded the Panhandle, the first Category 5 hurricane to hit the U.S. since Hurricane Andrew in 1992. Many people in the Panhandle still trying to recover from Michael's wrath. You can see here homes have yet to be rebuilt, and many people are still living in tents. Meteorologist Jason Adams shows us how the Panhandle is recovering.
Last October, Hurricane Michael slammed into the Florida Panhandle as the nation's fourth Category 5 landfalling hurricane. Months later, and coming up on the start of 2019's hurricane season, the Panhandle and its residents are still struggling. The hurricane displaced thousands of residents, and many feel that the country has simply forgotten them.
You really see just how much people don't care.
I feel like the day after, we've forgotten about it. It doesn't make me mad, it makes me sad because that's not how it should be.
So here's a refresher of what happened on that fateful day last year. Michael developed near the Yucatan Peninsula as a tropical storm. It was evident that it would strengthen to at least a Category 3 as it moved through the Gulf. Within 24 hours, Michael went from a tropical storm to a major hurricane. On October 10th, Michael made landfall at Tyndall Air Force Base between Panama City and Mexico Beach. The storm had winds of 160 miles per hour and brought a storm surge of 15 feet, which leveled the Air Force Base and also the small beach community of Mexico Beach. 100-mile-per-hour winds were reported 50 miles inland. The storm caused 59 fatalities in the United States and caused more than $25 billion in damages. $6 billion of that total was from the numerous aircraft at Tyndall Air Force Base that were destroyed. Agricultural damages were estimated at nearly $4 billion in the southeast United States. 7 months later, the damage is still as evident as if it were 7 days later. Debris piles, shells of what used to be homes, bare landscapes, and empty lots are now what remain in place of what used to be a quaint little beach town. However, the small community of Mexico Beach is resilient, and it's coming back. The canal that was destroyed by Michael has reopened, and boats are starting to dock here again. Residents are moving back, and restaurants are reopening. The community is coming back, and residents here refuse to give up and give in, even if they feel forgotten.
Michael bypassed Tampa Bay with just a little bit of coastal flooding. Seeing what it did in the Panhandle should be a huge wake-up call to all of us. If it can happen in a place that it's never happened before, it can happen here at home. Now's the time to make sure that you and your family have a plan of action should a worst-case scenario storm like Michael make a direct landfall here in Tampa Bay.
Families in the Panhandle have been through a lot. Despite sleeping in these tents, they're getting by with the help of each other. Shelley Summers' backyard is this tent community of 24 displaced strangers. The tents all have power, heat, and even mattresses. Summers won't let anyone pay her, but they found ways to show their gratitude, like carving a fairy house in her favorite tree.
That's just what you're supposed to do. Like, how can you go home and shut your door and know that there's people sleeping in the woods and be okay with that? That's not right.
And while many people, of course, are frustrated, it's folks like Summers who are helping them look forward to a new normal. Over the past few years, we've learned a lot about how to prepare for a hurricane, but we can't stress enough that you need to prepare, and now is the time. All 4 of our nation's Category 5 hurricanes were only tropical storms 3 days before making landfall. You have to be ready to act fast. Make a plan with your family and be ready to put that plan into action. For this year, NOAA's predicting a near-normal hurricane season. They're thinking about 9 to 15 named storms, now of which 4 to 8 will be hurricanes and 2 to 4 major hurricanes, which means Category 3 or higher. But Floridians need to be alert all season long. And of course, it's so important to remember it isn't how many hurricanes develop, it's ones that could impact us directly. Back in '92, Andrew was the first named storm of the season, a quiet year. But obviously folks in Florida would say otherwise. So it isn't how many develop, it's the ones that could impact you directly. So no matter what our hurricane season will look like, we can't stress enough how important it is to have a plan. And that means making sure your cell phones or other necessities still have power. Meteorologist Greg D shows us some new gadgets that can keep everything charged.
Hello, everybody. Power disruptions are one of our biggest concerns and inconveniences during a big storm. As we witnessed during Irma, some of these can last for several days, but technology is there to really help us out. You want to make sure you've got a really good battery backup to charge your phone, such as this one. When you buy one, whether it's online or in a local store, you want the number 10,000 or higher. That's 10,000 milliamp hours of charge. That'll give you several charges on your smartphone. And search for accessories for that battery too. For instance, you could add a little portable fan to this one. Keep yourself and the kids nice and cool during a storm outage when the electricity goes out. Or how about a light? Yeah, you can actually have up to 10 days of light with one of these batteries. Now, these battery backups have really come a long way. This one's from a company called MyCharge. It is huge. It's got all the USBs. You can charge every device on this. But in addition to this, check this out, an AC plug. You can actually plug in a 32-inch LED TV into this device, hook up a digital antenna, which you can get online for about $20, and watch life-saving ABC Action News hurricane coverage for up to 4 hours on that 32-inch TV. So with a smaller TV, it will last you even longer. That means even when power and internet are out, you can continue to get life-saving weather information. It's really incredible how far this technology has advanced, including these big battery backups to make sure your family stays safe and informed during our next storm.
This year, changes to flood zone maps. In Hillsborough County, this could impact up to 34,000 homeowners. And just because your home may not have been in a flood zone in years past doesn't mean that's the case this year. You can get a link to these maps on abcactionnews.com/hurricane. During Hurricane Michael, many people had trouble communicating. Most cell phone towers were destroyed. Coming up on Stormwatch 2019, the changes the FCC hopes cell phone companies will make.
Action News.
Many people in the Panhandle had trouble communicating because service was down for more than a week, and that includes rescuers. ABC Action News reporter Michael Paluska with the plan in place to make sure that never happens again.
These images of Mexico Beach flattened by Category 5 winds is still hard to believe. For many, nothing's been the same since October the 10th. As millions were left without power, wireless providers were working to clear debris and restore communication to the area. But a new report by the Federal Communications Commission shows that even though wireless companies deployed drones to get cell service up, it wasn't enough. This is a map the day after the storm hit. Bay and Gulf counties entirely in the red. In many cases, the report says power crews did not communicate. As one team restored down fiber lines, another came by and unintentionally ripped them down.
Every situation is different. Just because you've been through a storm in the past doesn't mean that the next storm is going to be exactly the same. It might be totally different.
Hundreds are gathered in West Palm Beach attending the Governor's Hurricane Conference, 6 days of seminars and workshops. The goal, make sure everyone is on the same page and up to date on how to respond before and after the storm.
Preparedness is not just about material things, it's also about having the right information and knowing where to get it and knowing how to use it.
If we get hit again this year or the next, the FCC hopes that cell phone providers will install more microwave and satellite links to keep crews communicating and work together to make sure no matter what carrier you have, you can talk on the cell phone tower that's working. In Tampa, Michael Paluska, ABC Action News.
So if you haven't done so yet, now's the time to get your hurricane kit ready. When we come back, the essentials you need and the quick and affordable things you can do to prepare your home now.
Places.
Your insurance bill could be changing this year too. It's best to make any changes to your insurance coverage right now. Taking Action reporter Jackie Calloway runs down the list of things you need to do now before the next storm makes waves in the tropics.
Now's the time to take inventory of all of your valuables.
Videotape your home and all of its contents and store it in the cloud.
Florida's former Deputy Insurance Commissioner Lisa Miller says the more you can prove you own, the better for your insurance claims.
Know what you have so you don't have to guess about it after it's gone.
Whether you rent or own, technology has made taking stock of your stuff much easier. Check out any number of free home inventory apps in your app store. Hurricanes unleash destructive winds, flooding, rain, and storm surge, but your homeowner's policy will not cover all of it.
If the water's coming in from below, in the case of a flood, you're going to be looking at your flood coverage policy.
But ordering flood insurance is not something you can do overnight. So Caitlin Pisker with Kiplinger recommends you start now.
So the National Flood Insurance Program has a 30-day waiting period.
Now is also the time to contact your insurer and ask about policy coverages and deductibles. Hurricane deductibles range from 2 to 5%, which could mean you'll pay thousands of dollars out of pocket before your policy kicks in. Many homeowners don't think about the scarcity of contractors after a storm. To prepare, research and make contacts with licensed contractors in your area right now.
So that you're not preyed upon after the storm if you have damage.
After every hurricane, unlicensed contractors and unscrupulous roofers go door to door selling repairs. Miller says don't let a stranger touch your house without checking their license and complaint record.
They're going to do one of two things: tell you you need a new roof because they want to sell you one, or make the damage happen that wasn't there in the first place.
Insurers often suggest you make temporary repairs such as putting up a tarp to stop any further damage to your home. But be sure to take pictures of the damage before performing any fixes yourself. I'm Jackie Calloway, taking action for you.
This hurricane season, you also need to be aware about scams post-disaster. Fake contractors, phony inspectors, or utility workers, bogus pleas for donations, and fake offers for free grants. Before hiring someone or making any sort of donation, make sure you do your homework. Make sure they have the appropriate credentials. And after any hurricane season, emergency personnel also reflect on things that went right and things that can get better. For the 33rd year, many of those people attended the Governor's Hurricane Conference. Their goal? To make sure everyone is up to date on how to respond before, during, and after a storm.
You know, we start getting, you know, a warmer atmosphere. You get some of these intense rainfall events. I think we're going to see those continue and maybe become more frequent. But here's the real takeaway in the perception of hurricanes. We have more people living on the coast. So, you know, as we grow the population on the coast, we have more people vulnerable to those impacts from the hurricanes. And that's why I think a lot of times we're noticing these a lot more.
And with 3 straight years of an active hurricane season, officials want to remind everyone over and over again to be prepared, and be prepared early. And that means making sure your hurricane kit is stocked and your home is prepared before there's a storm out there. Meteorologist Shay Ryan shows us the things you need to do before you hunker down or evacuate.
When it comes to protecting your house from a hurricane, you want to make sure that your garage door is secure. If you happen to have an older garage door, you may want to look into getting a bracing kit, which costs under $200, and you can usually find it at a hardware store and install it yourself. The second thing are your windows. That is another spot that is very susceptible to damage in a hurricane. You want to make sure if you don't have shutters that you check out plywood. It starts at about $10, but can go up to $55 plus for a sheet, so buying early is the key. As far as supplies inside your house, toilet paper. Obvious reasons, right? And then you want to make sure you've got your water, your flashlights, your batteries, your portable chargers are all charged up before the storm. Then when it comes to food items, make sure you've got a variety. High protein items, meats that are canned are always a good thing, and bars. Always want to make sure you've got your prescription as well as over-the-counter medications. You might get a hurricane headache, right? So certainly want to make sure you've got that Tylenol handy. First aid kits are always a good thing to have on hand. You can get any of these items, of course, at your regular grocery stores, but if you need them delivered, Amazon is a great option. You've also got Shipt and Instacart, and those will all help you to get things delivered to your house that are readily available. All right, and something you might not have thought of, but if you're not all that familiar with the area and the towers happen to go down, having a map is going to be a lifesaver during a storm. For more tips on preparing for hurricane season, go to abcactionnews.com/hurricane.
Like Shay said, it's so important to have your hurricane kit stocked and ready to go. Water. You should have at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days. Food. A 3-day supply of non-perishable food is recommended. Batteries, cell phone chargers, and a flashlight. And don't forget, we have all these videos on abcactionnews.com/hurricane. There are digital quick tips. These videos can help you prepare for just about anything from around your home, from making sure your pool is prepared to safely using a generator. And just a reminder to make sure you download the ABC Action News Storm Shield app and to follow our team of meteorologists on Facebook and Twitter for constant updates. You can also plan for your family on abcactionnews.com/hurricane. Florida Power and Light is also making some changes this year. They're hoping to keep your lights on as long as possible when a storm hits. Crews are replacing dozens of wooden poles with concrete ones. These poles can withstand up to 130-mile-an-hour winds. Many of you may remember Hurricane Irma knocking out power across the Bay Area. FPL is looking at their plans to make changes, particularly ones that will benefit 3,500 homes. Now, Duke Energy says they're replacing 600 wooden poles by the end of the year. And TECO is replacing 155. Florida Power and Light is also working on a pilot program, putting more power lines underground. This 3-year pilot program started this year in certain neighborhoods.
We're testing different methods of construction, of design, of engineering, and different tools that we're trying to bring in to see what is easier and most cost-effective to do this project.
FBL says the #1 cause of outages during Irma was debris blowing into and trees falling onto power lines. They hope this program will enhance reliability during these storms. Still to come on Storm Watch 2019, we're preparing you right now should a storm head for Tampa Bay. The things you need to bring into a shelter in case of an evacuation. That's up next.
ABC Action News at 11. It's weather to plan your morning.
And we've got a cold front on the way.
It's news to keep your family safe.
The I-Team broke this story.
It's breaking news happening now.
Breaking news. We're going live.
ABC Action News at 11. It's news worth.
We know many of you rely on us through storms, especially on our streaming platforms and social media. Meteorologist Greg D shows you how you can stay informed 24 hours a day.
Staying informed ahead of the next big storm is very important, and ABC Action News offers you multiple ways to get life-saving information in your hands. Check out our Twitter feed, ABC Action News. Tweets throughout the day and throughout this storm so you can keep your family safe. Our Facebook page is also an excellent addition to that storm information plan with videos, information that your family needs. If you've got a smart device, a smartphone, maybe a tablet such as an iPhone or iPad, check out our app. You can watch videos and newscasts right on that app for free. And of course, if you don't have cable, there is another way to get our information on your TV. Streaming devices such as this Roku, which in many cases cost $30, allow you free access to live ABC Action News information. All you'll need is an internet connection and your TV. We've got all this posted on our website in the hurricane section of the weather page of abcactionnews.com.
So if evacuations are ordered and you need to go to a hurricane shelter, there are things you need to be aware of. Not all shelters accept pets, and there are things you'll need to bring with you. During Hurricane Irma, we got plenty of questions from what's needed at a shelter or where to go. Hillsborough County has 8 pet-friendly shelters, and if you go to one, you'll need a leash, pet food, and proof of vaccinations. If you go to a general population shelter, you'll need water, food, bedding, and don't forget medications.
Now we're recommending 7 days worth of supply, and the reason for that, the intensity of the storms and how quick they're coming had significant impact on the current infrastructure.
Officials also want to remind you, do not bring alcohol, drugs, or any kind of weapon to a shelter. If it comes down to making a decision to evacuate, it's important to know what zone you're in. Looking up your level right now helps you to be able to make that determination quickly. Take a look at this map in Sarasota. Everything in red is evacuated first, followed by the orange and yellow. They're also using a similar system to let people know when it's safe to go home.
That's what we're going to utilize to kind of give folks an idea of how the county is impacted. A lot of people flocking here from different states who have no experience with hurricanes.
Sarasota County emergency managers hope this new system will bring a sense of calm before and after a storm. Creating that hurricane evacuation plan with your family is so important, but if a hurricane approaches, bring in any unsecured items that can be picked up by the wind, like bicycles and lawn furniture. Close your windows, doors, and hurricane shutters if you have them. And also fill up your car's gas tank. And be sure to always obey those evacuation orders. If you follow us on social media, you've probably heard the expression rule number 7, but you may be surprised to know there's 6 other rules that go along with it. First and foremost, errors are very large in hurricane predictions, especially 3 days out. So what you do is you look for trends, and that's something that we help you do as we prepare for any storm that's coming this way. Obviously, be sure to check your hurricane kit now and in the future. It's always a good idea to keep it updated. And lastly, yes, rule number 7 is don't freak out unless we're freaking out. You're fine. And the moral there, if you're ready, if you've planned, you'll have nothing to freak out about. Your family will be safe. So thank you for joining us. And remember, ABC Action News will be available for you 24/7 throughout this hurricane season.